If love had a price tag, how would you value real love? The story I tell today is about a 70-year-old man using all of his fortunes in exchange for real love. It began with an antique auction in Europe. There was a man. He had seen many valuable things in his life, he had owned many antiques, and had never missed a thing. Thanks to his sharp eyes, everyone called him Oldman. This brilliant man was meticulous even in his lifestyle. He paid attention to his hair. He had a closet full of vests and gloves. He was a typical Italian man. But Oldman had a side that no one knew about. He was obsessed with cleanliness. He hated socializing. He didn't even have a phone. His unique hobby was collecting photos of beautiful girls. While people downloaded the videos, he was just interested in the picture. He often collaborated with his friend Billy, who used tricks in the auction to buy pictures drawing women at a low price. Oldman intended to live the rest of his life with the beauty in the drawing, but at his 65th birthday party, there was a mysterious phone call that changed his whole life. A girl who called herself the heir of the villa contacted the auction and said she wanted to sell her property and chose Oldman to evaluate her house. Then they made many appointments, but she made up excuses to hide away and didn't appear once. Oldman was so mad that he criticized her. When you were hit by a car, you were having a fever, 1,000 excuses. Are you the professional deceiver in the story? The girl said that she had difficulties, so she couldn't appear, and told the butler to welcome him. Through the butler, Oldman knew that the girl was the only daughter in the family. After her parents passed away, the family went down. She had no choice but to sell her property. The story wasn't rare, but after taking a tour around the villa, Oldman was curious about this girl. Among the casual homeware, with his sharp eyes, Oldman saw a piece of mechanical machine in the corner of the house. With his experience of evaluation, he knew this wasn't simple. He took it out secretly and gave it to Robert, the mechanical engineer newly coming to the town. Robert soon realized that this thing had an impressive history. If he was right, this stuff belonged to Vaucanson. It was rumored that in the 18th century, he invented the machine that could reply to humans. If they could find the pieces to replace the missing ones, to recreate the machine, it would be priceless. Just like that, Oldman paid more attention to the evaluation. From the butler, Oldman knew that the owner of the house didn't come to the appointment because she was afraid of crowded places. She usually hid in the darkroom in the villa and never met anyone. Just stay inside the house. This was his first reaction to that girl. But at 40 meters far from the wall, he heard Claire's voice. Oldman cleared his prejudice. Anyway, his objection to touching things was the same as this girl's scare of meeting other people. He took the furniture evaluation as an excuse. Oldman usually visited the place and took away some mechanical pieces. After keeping in touch with her for some time, he had a strange feeling for Claire behind that wall. Claire didn't like makeup, so he didn't dye his hair and revealed his salt and pepper hair. He was afraid that Claire didn't have enough food, so he brought groceries along. He even bought his first phone to contact Claire. Dream of the young girl was all over his mind. Oldman listened to Robert's suggestion and pretended to leave the house, then hid behind a sculpture, took a peek and waited for her in silence. When a young girl with white skin, red lips, and lazy body appeared in front of his eyes, Oldman, hiding behind the sculpture, immediately dived into her eyes. Claire was like Mona Lisa in person. Her appealing smile could seduce thousands of men. Since then, even the masterpiece of a famous artist, the rumor in Europe, the man with incredible memory in the cafeteria at the corner, or even the repair of the robot, couldn't grip Oldman's attention. What was always in his mind was how to cure social anxiety. Claire said to Oldman, "I started to be scared of the crowd someday. For years, apart from my room, there was only one place that could ease my anxiety. It was Night and Day Restaurant at Praha Square. What a pity, after that I no longer have the chance to come there." Hearing this, Oldman tried to hold his excitement back. "If you want, I can take you there immediately." But there was only silence that replied to him. Worry and desire urged Oldman to take a peep again. When he was engrossed in admiring her, his phone dropped onto the ground. Claire was startled and frightened. Who is there? I am begging you, please go out." The heartbreaking cry made Oldman scared. He regretted his impolite act. He quickly left the villa, but he received a phone call from Claire. She panicked and thought that her house was broken into, and begged Oldman to help her. He was guilty, so he told the truth. "Calm down, it was me. I hid in the room and secretly looked at you." Hearing that, Claire was enraged. "I consider you as my friend, and you stalk me? Go away, I don't want to have anything to do with you. Oldman desperately intended to leave, but there was a beg from behind him. Please don't leave. Hey, the woman is hard to understand. 1 second she didn't want to meet him. Next second she stepped towards him. Oldman couldn't believe his eyes. He touched the face that he dreamed of every night, and gently said, "Trust me, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to see you." The most wonderful thing in the world is that two people both have feelings for each other. Needless to say, Oldman was lucky. The moment that Claire stepped out of her room, paid off everything sacrifice that Oldman made. Following Robert the Profession in Love suggestion, Oldman learned how to buy presents for his lover, to choose makeup, prepare dinner. He tried his best to make her smile. The efforts of Oldman heated their relationship. Claire changed from objecting to enjoying talking face to face. She even invited Oldman into her room. This was just one step for Oldman, but a huge step for their love. He saw the room full of books, and listened to Claire introducing herself as an anonymous writer, which made him fall more deeply in love with her. His girlfriend turned out to be a precious one. The thing that made him even more surprised was that on the shelf at the corner of the room was the shell of the robot that he couldn't find. For your information, the repair of the robot only lacked this shell. Having both career and love was obviously the best ending. But he didn't expect that his kill two birds with one rock plan had an error. The villa was empty. Claire also disappeared. Oldman, along with the butler and Robert, searched around 40 miles, but she was nowhere to be seen. Oldman was heartbroken. He couldn't figure it out. At the depth of his despair, the butler called. "There is another secret room in the villa. Have you checked the second floor?" Those words woke him up. Oldman step by step walked up the staircase, behind the door. He found Claire. She looked at Oldman and burst into tears. "I thought that you would leave me. Like the last time." "What last time?" Oldman couldn't understand, but he got it after asking again. That year, when leaving the Praha Square, she and her boyfriend were stuck in an accident. When she came round, her boyfriend disappeared. From then on, she was heartbroken and locked herself inside the house, and didn't take a step outside. Until Oldman appeared, she opened her heart one more time. The secret was revealed. Claire finally let her guard down. The night the sincere conversation happened, Oldman knew well that they only had to eliminate the obstacle, which meant leaving this villa. No one would expect that the chance to escape from this difficult situation came so fast. It was a heavily rainy night. Oldman was robbed in front of the villa. He was beaten black and blue. Claire saw him beaten through the window. She didn't hesitate to run through the rain, and took Oldman to the hospital. Seeing the worry on Claire's face, Oldman smiled to calm her down. Love was the best cure. "Look, she has won her social anxiety disorder. Even if I die, it is worth it." After leaving the hospital, Oldman took Claire to observe his rare collection. In the room full of pictures and photos, Oldman gently said, "I hope that you can come over and live with me." But Claire sincerely told him, "If anything happens, just remember that I truly love you." Oldman was blinded by the love. He didn't realize the unusual things in her words. He eagerly tore the photo album apart, and said when he took part in the last auction, he would retire and live happily forever after with his lover. To celebrate Oldman that every year he got a young beautiful girl, everyone visited him. Billy presented Oldman with a picture. Oldman was over the moon, and hurried to go home, but he didn't see Claire anywhere. The butler said recently, Claire, along with Robert, went out from dawn to dusk, and partied all the time. Oldman didn't think much. He took the picture of Claire's mother to the secret room. When the light in the secret room turned on, an empty space startled him. Every picture that he collected his whole life was gone. Wait, the robot was still there. He was surprised and approached it, accidentally touched the switch. The robot emitted a familiar sound. Every fake antique has its true face. I agree with this saying. So I will remember you. Lying? Cheating? Oldman couldn't believe it. He tried to knock on the door of the villa, but no one answered. He was hopeless, and ran to the cafeteria at the corner to seek information. Do you remember the woman with incredible memory? She saw everything, and emotionlessly told him, "In the last year and a half, I saw Claire walking out 237 times, and you walking into that villa 63 times. The previous tenant was a mechanic, but he has gone." Her words woke Oldman up. The sound of sorrow was in his ears. Yes, all of these things were a conspiracy to steal his love and money without any hole. Claire the goddess, his best friend Billy, every one of them was the same. The portrait of Claire's mother was drawn by Billy. They planned it for 18 months. Claire pretended to have social anxiety to attract Oldman's empathy and used the pieces of the robot to deceive him. Then they arranged the missing situation, the burglary, to further their relationship. Until Oldman was madly in love with her and lost his ability to discern the truth, so their plan to steal all the priceless pictures. Oldman wanted to call the police, but he recalled Claire's saying, and piece by piece about their relationship. This love was fake, but there was still something real about it. He accepted it. When he thought it through, he went to the cafeteria night and day that Claire mentioned once. He waited silently and hoped to see Claire one more time. After this movie, Jackie wants to say that, even The Legend of 1900, Malino, or The Best Offer, today, Giuseppe Tornatore's movies always take people by surprise. The rhythm of the story is slow, the content leads to the peak of the movie. The story is normal but it is wonderful, it touches the heart of the audiences, and when the story comes to an end, the audiences still linger on it. After all, I just say, Oldman was willing to use his lifelong collection to have a short-term love. We are also willing to release thousands of clips in exchange for like, share, and subscribe. But you have to remember that the love for me, Jackie, must be for your whole life.